Derek Overstreet, founder of the New Millennium Group. We're a financial planning firm. We have advisors standing by right now to take your call. 888-999-6370. The reason you're going to want to call is we're going to help you retire 3 to 5 years before you thought possible. The way we do this is by putting together a step-by-step plan. So if you're one of those people listening and you'd like a plan in writing, give us a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370, or go to utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Some of the most meaningful jewelry you own isn't new. It's inherited. A ring from a grandmother, a necklace full of memories, but no longer your style. Duke's Jewelers reimagines family heirlooms into custom pieces you'll actually wear and love. Working one-on-one, Duke's designers honor the original story while creating something fresh and modern. Don't let meaningful jewelry sit unused. Let it live on beautifully. Visit Duke's Jewelers in Springville or online at dukesjewelers.com, where old stories become new treasures.
DJ, PK, and David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, joining us. David, good morning.
Good morning. How are you? My gosh, it's a Friday, the last regular season Friday that's probably not true. One more. That I get to talk to DJ and PK and talk about the NBA and wonder about this season with a vision to the future. But the future always involves DJ and PK, and that makes me happy.
5 games.
We have one more?
5
one more.
left.
We have
yeah.
Next Friday. Next Friday we chat, and it's still regular season. Yeah.
Right. In 2 weeks it'll be over. Yeah. In 2 weeks there'll be 82 games in the books, all done in 2 weeks.
Sadness.
What do you want to see in the next 5 games? What do you need to see? Because this is the last time you get to really be in the laboratory, because when they come back next year, it'll be all about winning. Obviously there'll be some laboratory, some experimenting, but not like now. So what do you want to see? What should they be using these last 5 games for?
I think we're seeing it, don't you? Cody Williams had 9 assists the other day. They've opened up Bryce Sensabaugh to all sorts of opportunities and playing. And I thought Will made a really good point that, these guys have taken the opportunity, but they haven't, gotten outside of the game. They still have 30 assists a game, and they still are playing hard. And they aren't kind of hijacking the game in some way. And then Kyle's development has been really, really good recently. I think he's learning when he can do things and when he can't do things, and what matchups he can take advantage of in what fashion, and how to bring. He's brought back some of his Duke game that he kind of lost early on. So no, I think we're seeing exactly what you'd want to see right now. It's really, a lot. I get asked all the time by people like, "Oh gosh, is it hard to go to work?" No, it's not hard at all. Actually, super fun still, and it's been really interesting.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Just watching these young guys, how much do you think that they can develop the confidence that can aid them throughout their summer workouts? And so they go into next season, whichever level, whether it's the second season, third season, depending on who they are, that will think that they will, because they played so well here down the stretch, that they would just be strengthened by their confidence and expect a higher level out of themselves next season.
Yeah, and I think what all 3 of those guys we just talked about have done things. You say Cody. Cody probably had zero confidence 2 months ago, right? He hadn't really done anything well yet in the NBA. Okay, well, now Cody's kind of like, okay, I've got a little midi game. I've actually figured out how to get to the rim, learning how to defend. I can play off one foot. Actually, my handle's getting better. Okay, so if I go to the offseason and work on my handle and work on my shooting, and I add those 2 things – while improving these other things, I actually have something I can build up. Where, 2 months ago, frankly, Cody's going to the offseason probably without even a foundation by which he believes he can build up.
You have pointed out correctly that everything will be different next year. You'll be trying to win. Teams will come in with a different attitude. The bar will be raised multiple levels on some of these young guys. In one regard, though, the one place it could be easier, will it be a little easier to defend next year when you're playing with multiple 7-footers on the court with you at the same time? Whereas these guys now, when they get beat, there's no guarantee there's any rim protection. Likely there's no rim protection at all. How much will that get easier for them? And will they look different?
I think I think it's a really worthwhile conversation. So if I can take even wider than maybe you did, because you got very narrow there. Mm-hmm. So on one level right now, this is the easiest job in the NBA. You get to go play every night, and no one gives a crap if you win or not.
Yeah.
right? Like, that's the easiest job in the world. And so you miss a rotation, you force a shot, you do something, no one's really that upset about it. Like, Will can sit there and be like, turn to the bench and be grumbly or this or that. But, like, really no one cares. It's not 94-94 with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter against the Houston Rockets with a battle for the fourth playoff position, and you just decide to hijack a possession and, like, the angst. Like, that's different. So this is, in one level, we can talk about how this is super hard because you're, fighting some instinct and things like that. But this is the easiest job in the world right now. The second part of this is that when you're good, Will had a great comment the other day, which was that after the seventh guy in the rotation, what you're really looking for is players to fit specific needs to your roster. And so what you're really doing is by the time you become the seventh player or below on the rotation, we're narrowing your focus. We need this out of you, not all of it. Right now, Kyle and Bryce and Ace and Cody get to do all of it. They get to try everything right now. And it's fine, because if they screw it up, we don't care, which is great. Perfect developmental environment. Next year, other than Ace, the other three are going to be 7 or below in rotation, I think. And so you're narrowing their focus into something very specific that you want out of them every night, and anything else you get is gravy. And so to your point, whether it's defense or something else, that's where life changes the most, is like, hey, you're coming in the game and your job is to defend this guy for 5 minutes and move the basketball, hit a corner three. Your job is to play 5-out offense against their smaller team, run the offensive through you, get an assist or two, maybe draw a foul, and not get beat too bad defensively. Like, that's – and we're going to keep you, in case Kyle, maybe we're going to keep you off their best offensive player so you don't get exposed defensively. Like, no – and frankly, the other one I would say is when you're 7 or below in a rotation, it's on the coach to make sure that you don't look bad. And so my example of that is, remember Raul Neto?
Yeah.
Raul Neto always had a great plus-minus. And everybody would always say, like, oh, he's got a great plus. Yeah, that was because Quinn used Raul Neto perfectly. And anytime Raul Neto, as his 10th guy, was in a matchup that was not advantageous, he took him out of the game. Because your starter is the one who has to deal with that matchup. And so I think that's where these guys' lives are just going to be very, very different next year. Cody's handle is getting better, maybe not good enough. Okay, well, he's probably not handling much next year. The only time Cody's ever handling next year is on a reverse side play where he gets 2 dribbles to the rack and dunks it. Right now, he's got to beat his guy, try to get by someone, gets bumped, misses the layup. But next year, hopefully, somebody's actually made that play. He's slashing from the corner because they've double-teamed Jaren in the post, and he's taking advantage of all of his elite skills of being able to go off one foot, and he's just passing it. And he's not getting hit on the way because there's not 3 other defenders there who aren't guarding Bez Mbang, Anderson Garcia, and Kennedy Chandler. I took it a different way. Hope I answered it. If you want the answer to the question you asked, we can deal with that.
It's fine.
I'm interested in what's going on with Collier because he's sitting over there with a lot of talent on the bench. And I'm wondering if it's signifying that they believe in him and he's secured a spot. I'm not saying a starting spot, but it's secured a spot, and they know he could get in the way of winning right now.
So I think what you're truly asking is his hamstring injured? Yes, it is.
So he cannot
play.
What you're asking?
Yeah, I actually thought there was a chance that we were going to see him tomorrow or today. So maybe, I don't know what's happened. I don't know what's going on with the rehab. So I don't really know, but I would say, yeah, I don't need to elaborate. You know what I'm saying. Elijah Harkless and Isaiah Colliers are in similar circumstances. They have injuries that are trying to come back before the season's over.
I feel like there's multiple groups of young guys, and when Jazz fans say, "What do you think of these young guys?" I'm never sure exactly who they're talking about. There's the Ace Bailey tier where, well, yeah, you were a top 5 draft pick and presumably, a top 5 draft pick coming in this year. That's one group of young guys. There's guys who are late first-round picks who've been here 2 or 3 years now. That's another group. But there's another group of guys that are rotating through who have come in over the course of the season, maybe on 10 days. In that group, has anybody impressed you? Are they just helping finish the season and they get what they get? Or is there a chance that some of these guys are going to be on the Jazz roster next year helping the team? In that newest group, what do you think?
So, what I actually think is interesting to your question is maybe Cody's the one exception here. But these guys are actually all rolling into where their draft positions are. Ace could be a real superstar. Mm-hmm. Bryce and Kyle, who are 28 to 32, and Isaiah are trying to figure out how they're going to be rotation players on a roster, right? Mm-hmm. And the two-way players and these non-drafted guys are trying to figure out if they can make the roster and be, to Will's point, you're now 10 or below in the rotation. You really better fit a need. So I think Blake Hinson and Elijah Harkless are both interesting. Harkless really just hasn't shown he can shoot yet, but his defense and his tenacity and his energy is pretty incredible. And if you're looking for a third guard, or just a fifth or sixth guard who's going to maybe just play. You have to play because someone's hurt, and so you're getting utmost energy out of him on that night, or you're having a night in January where the team is dead on the 4th game of a road trip, and you throw him out there hoping he's going to spark. He seems pretty perfect for that. The 22% 3-point shooting's not super. Blake Hinson is really interesting because, frankly, very small sample size, but he's the best catch-and-shoot shooter in the NBA right now. The only reason he's not playing, by the way, is he doesn't have any games left. So he's on a two-way deal, and two-way players only have a certain amount of games that they can play on the higher level. He used a bunch with the Warriors, so he only has 3 games left. So that's why he's been in and out of the lineup, is because otherwise they'd have to move him to a full contract. But I think he's interesting. My understanding on him is that he's in the best shape he's ever been in his life. He has always been a little heavy and he's not athletic particularly. He's not laterally particularly athletic. So you added the heaviness, and then he really had a hard time moving at the NBA level, but he has shed some weight and is in way better shape than he's ever been in his career. And so therefore he is maybe more able to hide his weaknesses and then use his strength. And he's 6'7", 6'8", with a high shooting window. That seems like that's an NBA player. All right, wait, I need your moment. Okay, come on. 3 guys sitting at the corner of the bar. Hopeful Jazz fans. I want to know your thoughts. How good do you think Ace can be?
When, I guess, is the question. I think he'll be good. He'll be really good these next 3 years, but he's still young and learning, and there'll be older players to defer to in terms of, Markkanen and Jackson, right? And really, it'll be interesting to see how much Keontae has the ball and how those shots get distributed and all that. But, in 3 years, when a lot of guys' contracts are up, and we'll see how things go, and some will probably stay and some will probably go because there's always turnover. But will it be his team in, let's see, be 27, 20, 29. So in 2030, we get to the new decade, is it his team? Is he an all-star at that point? Is he all-NBA? I think there's a high ceiling there. It'll be super interesting to see how much of that he can get to, but I want to see it. I want to see it. It could be really good. It could be really
good. Better than Gordon Hayward was at his best.
So it's all-star?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I think, I'm over the moon right now. I'm sure there's some psychology of keeping hope, right? But I was at dinner with a guy who played in the league for a long time last night, and we were watching some of his highlights, and the movie he had on Evan Mobley the other night. I said, how many guys in the league? He's 9, 10. Yeah. And the pull-up jumper on the right side against Denver. We watched that. And I asked him how many, and he was like 10 guys. He's like, there's only 10 guys in the league who can do that. I'll tell you what, I think he's the go-to guy by February next year.
Ooh, that was what I was about to bring up. Over Jaren
Jackson.
Yeah, I was about to bring
Jaren Jackson's not good. Jaren Jackson's not a good one-on-one player late in games. He's a great player. But go look at his data. I've not watched him every night. Let's be fair. But go look at his data. He's not good at that.
David, I know you got to run. We're going to let you go.
I just saw the clock and I'm rushing to put on shoes. So yes.
We will pick up this conversation later. We'll talk to you again next week. Thanks, David. There's David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz. I know what he's getting at, PK, and you see this. If it goes in a steady progression, you can see how he's getting better and he's getting a bigger role in his second, his third, his fourth year in the role in the NBA. But what if his role changes because he just turns out to be the rocket ship, right? He's Artemis, baby, straight to the moon. Forget this kind of stuff, right? This would be normal, and this could be really good. But best case scenario, if everything goes right, then it's.
Well, that means Will Hardy his job has just compounded by about 10 times because you got Keontae George going into a contract and he's had shots. He's proven it at a Jazz level, not at a winning level. Marketing saying, wait a second, I've been the guy here for 4 years and I've slogged through all this losing. Now we're winning and I got to defer to a 20-year-old. And you got Jaren Jackson. I'm a 3-time All-Star here, guys. And then depending on who else you bring in, that becomes so fascinating to me to see how everything fits and how the coaching staff is going to manage all that stuff. That just means that the job is 10 times tougher. And that's what I talked about with Riley Jensen last week. And how do you handle it from the psychological standpoint? Because if you're winning and you complain, you look like a fool. Scottie Pippen has never lived down
looked worse.
Going out of the game because the shot wasn't going to go to him on a shot that was made to win the game. He looks like a pouting fool doing that, and he has to answer for that for the rest of his career. So you don't want to be whining while the team is winning, but how does it figure and how does it play out? If by February, Ace Bailey, a 20-year-old, is the go-to guy and you're winning, man, that would just be incredible. And then how are you going to manage all these egos that are involved? Because they're all hooping and hollering now on the bench when one of these guys who isn't a threat to them does something really well. Well, how about if they're a threat to their individual statistics, which then is a threat to your money? How do you handle all that? So
there's that, for sure. I think there's one example in Jazz history that if the Jazz are fortunate, because I think the problem solved itself for Quinn Snyder. And we can get to that. And then also it depends if Ace is really capable of doing this. There's one skill that Ron Boone talks about all the time, and I think he talks about it all the time because of what you just said, and it's the thing that Ace can do that can fix it for everybody. And we'll get to those two things next. Plus, we're giving away concert tickets next. Stick around right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
You have the box score in front of you?
I do.
How many minutes did Kyle Filipowski play?
Phil played 24 minutes.
How many minutes did James Harden play?
39 minutes.
It's not a good sign. You're in Salt Lake City. The Jazz are not trying to win. That's exactly why the Jazz made the trade they did. The Donovan Mitchell trade of knowing you're only going to last so long in the playoffs. You just didn't know how far it was going to take you, but you knew it was not going to take you to a championship, which Jazz fans will remember. And it's actually a type of pain that when you're not experiencing it, you might forget about it. But it's this is not going to end the way you want it to, but I guess you'll just watch the playoffs as long as they last. And they said, we want to actually raise the ceiling to a point where maybe there's a championship, and the pain to get there is going to be significant, and that's what these 4 years have been, and it is.
I was always in the camp of you either do it or don't, and they went into the rebuild, which I think will eventually pay off.
Catch Jake and Ben weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car's gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
DJ and PK, it's a Live Nation Friday. Caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. Win a pair of tickets to see the Black Crowes with special guest Whiskey Myers at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater on August 13th. Caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. Good luck. We just had David Locke on, and he brought up at the end of the segment, he said, what do you think the future is for Ace Bailey? And there is a possibility that Ace gets better here over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years and is ready to take over the team. Locke brought up the possibility, what if everything goes right? And he is the go-to guy as early as the middle of next season. Of course, then David had to leave and go to shoot around for the Jazz-Rocket game tonight. So PK and I were debating this, and PK had brought this up earlier when I was out last week about, well, how does Will Hardy, juggle all the egos, right? There are established veterans who have scored 20, 25 points a game in this league, and all of a sudden they're going to defer to this guy. How is that going to work? Well, there are multiple answers to this question, and we don't know what it's going to be. That's why it's so fascinating. One option is it's not going to work. There's going to be chaos, right? That'd be the worst. That'd be the worst case scenario right there. That's door number one. These are like the 3 doors Keontae George had to walk through last year. So door number one is chaos, and everything goes sideways, right? Door number 2 is the Donovan Mitchell plan. If you remember when Donovan Mitchell came in, he started off, he played a lot, he shot a lot, he had multiple games, I called it up during the break. He was 1 for 7 from the floor in his second game, and in his third game, and in his fifth game, and in between he had a 7 for 20. And a couple weeks later, he went 3 for 21 in Philadelphia. And we were talking about it like, there were veterans on that team. They'd been in the playoffs the year before, and Gordon Hayward had left, but a lot of the team was still there. It's like, it looked weird. Like, we know they're players who are more productive than him, but there also doesn't seem to be any kind of, like, revolt. Everyone seems to be kind of going with the flow, even if the flow is this rookie shooting 14% tonight, and he's getting 21 shots. And I did a story on it, PK, and I'll never forget this. It was such a great answer. Oh, you've done this a million times. The locker room's open before the game, and you can get whatever player happens to be in there. And a lot of times there aren't very many players in there. They're back in the training room where you can't go. And so when I went in to talk to players, I wanted to talk to some of the veterans who'd been on the team and been with the team for 2 or 3 years, and none of them were available. And the guy who was there was Thabo Cephalosha. So I don't know him. I go up to him. And, when you've never talked to somebody before and there's no relationship and you ask this thing about team dynamics, you don't really know what you're going to get or how it's going to go. And I said, he's 1 for 7 multiple games. He's 3 for 21. But everyone, the offense just keeps moving when he's 3 for 16 and give him the ball and he misses 3 for 17. But it's not like guys are quitting at the defensive end or guys aren't trying to rebound. Everything looks right, even though this is going on. Why is everyone rolling with it? Why is this? And he looked right at me, dead serious, just the kind of dead serious where you're getting the truth. He goes, talent. We all knew it in September. He's got it. It's a little rocky now. He's going to figure it out. He's too good not to figure it out. He is really good, and everybody in the locker room knows it, and that's why we're rolling with this right now. Now, that's how it worked that year. Could it work this again? And, what if they have a number 1 pick, and if it's a DeBonce or somebody going through this? That's like door number 2. And door number 3, which is probably the best door, which probably won't happen, but it could. Door number 3, Ron Boone always says, the last thing most, and now this is different because kids develop so much younger and they play so much more basketball now, but there's still some truth in it, whereas there was a lot of truth in Ron's era. But it's like, when do you learn to pass off the dribble? And Booner says for so many players, that's the last thing a good offensive player adds to his arsenal, that adds to his bag of tricks. Learn to pass off the dribble. You pump fake someone on a perimeter, you get rid of that defender, you're driving. Well, now you drive into the shot blocker, but you see the open guy, but you just can't smoothly get it there. And once you learn to do that, you start getting everybody easy hoops. And then the offense is, and I think that's David's point about Jaren Jackson. He scores a lot of points, but he's just not give it to him in one-on-one guy. And really, Markkanen isn't much of that either. If they could play with Keontae George and Ace Bailey, who are big-time scorers and can pass off the dribble, they're going to get a lot of easy looks and easy shots. And at that point, you're probably winning a lot of games. And at that point, it's like, guys, this is obviously working. You can't let your ego get in the way. Now, there's 3 paths this can all go down, and one of the reasons we'll watch next year is we don't know which path they're going to go down. Maybe it'll be door number 1 in chaos. Maybe they'll have to roll for a while with a young guy while they figure it out, and they're okay with it because they see his talent the way Cephalosha saw Donovan's talent. And Donovan had it figured out by the middle of his rookie year. He was flying. And they won a playoff series.
The number one option dictates to me that you're shooting most of the time, not passing, but you need to be able to pass. Everyone needs to be able to pass. That's the way winning teams are. The problem that I see with the Donovan Mitchell comparison is you had a bunch of role players on that team, and you had a center who was only going to get lobs at the rim. Other than that, he wasn't a scorer. Now you're going to have this season here going into 26, 27. You're going to have two guys that are front court players that are 7 feet tall that are used to scoring the ball. And that's how they got to where they are. And then you've got a backcourt mate in George who had a little breakout season and doesn't want to go back. He wants to continue to progress. So I think the circumstances are different. I don't remember all the guys that were on that team back then when Mitchell was there and they gave him the ball from game one, and was surprising. And he did struggle for a bit, which is natural. Even veterans are going to have bad shooting nights. But I don't know that there was accomplished scorers on the team the way this team next season. George is going to think, I'm an accomplished scorer. And the other two are rightly so thinking, I'm an accomplished scorer. So now you got three guys. And if we get to February and Ace Bailey is the number one guy, I'm just wondering how those other guys are going to accept it, because they are far more proven than he is. And maybe George to a lesser extent, obviously, but the other two absolutely are far more proven. And as I said earlier, Markkanen's been sitting around losing. Now he's been collecting $40+ million a year, so I'm not feeling sorry for him by any stretch. And he clearly is the number one option, and he gets the ball and he's looking to shoot every single time, as he should. Now, how are they going to handle that if it's changed? And it should change, because they're going to have a far more balanced team than they've had since the time that Markkanen first arrived after the trade. It has to come together. Training camp is going to be important, and there might be a little bit of stumble early as they try to figure it out. And if I remember that, go back and check this, when LeBron first went to the Heat, I think they had a little bit of a struggle through the first 15, 20 games. And so that's sort of natural. And then I think that's why Locke is talking about February, because you'll have a season or half a season at that point to figure things out. It's going to be interesting. And maybe the strength of the team is just that, the team. Guys are going to have to sacrifice for the sake of winning. And if they're comfortable sacrificing for the sake of winning, then I don't think it's that big of a problem. But if they're sacrificing and they're not winning, well, then you got issues here. And I'm not sure that it's going to be a smooth ride completely. You got to let Ace develop to the talent that he has, particularly if they should get a top 2 or 3 draft pick, which you want, obviously. That just adds to the mix. I mean, talent alone doesn't win basketball games. It's how everything fits together, all the pieces of the puzzle. We've seen that. We've seen that in international competition when the U.S. was losing to, seemingly on paper, less talented teams, but guys who had played together and know where they're going to be and all that stuff. And so it's going to take a little bit of time, but if they're committed for the sake of winning, then I think it can work. And if Ace just proves himself to be the number one guy, then the other guys are just going to have to accept it.
Yes, right. And to your point about, what if ego gets in the way and all those kind of things, it's not only Will Hardy who it'll be interesting to see how Will handles it. It'll be interesting to see how the front office handles it. Because if they're guys who just don't fit, the most talent doesn't necessarily fit. The bad boy Pistons 30 years ago went through that. They had to make a trade, and they decided, with Dantley. And so they were close, but they had to tweak it. So they had to trade a starter. They had to trade a big name, a high-profile guy who was accomplished. So I think that it'll be interesting to see if they're struggling, but they have a strong vision for where it needs to go, if they're people who don't get it on board. Because once you're winning and the train's going there, then I think it's easier for people to buy in and get on board. It's easier for the agent to call and say, dude, I know you're losing your mind, and I get it, but when you need to complain, call me and complain. That's why you pay me. Don't be taking it to the media. Don't be sitting on the bench with a bad look on your face. Don't let the shoulders sag when, you don't get the shot. Save it all, call me after the game. That's where you blow off the steam. If they have the vision, though, and it's not quite there yet, that's, I think, when stuff can really get messy. When it's like, hey, you got to stay bought in. We got the vision. We know where we're going. We're betting on these young guys. That's where it can be hard for veterans to buy in. And you're right about Markkanen. And we can go back and look at that team. I don't think that Donovan Mitchell team had anybody like Markkanen, 25 points a game, able to fill it up. So it was different. I mean, Cephalosha was on his whatever team, and it was a great quote.
Role player.
But he's a role player, right? And so he knows on a bad team I can start, on a good team I come off the bench and I play 20 minutes or whatever. And it's not the same thing. The players can see the same thing, but he's already viewing himself in the group one way, whereas obviously Jackson and Markkanen are more accomplished and are going to see themselves a different way.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, it's fun to watch the guys on the bench get all excited when somebody who is absolutely no threat to their FGAs.
Right. Yeah.
And they go nuts on the bench and they're having a great time over there. And George and everybody, Jaren Jackson stands up when one of these no-name dudes that goes and does something spectacular. Right. Because, I mean, these guys – they're in the league. We go put them on a college team. We go put them on a rec team. They would just be dominant like crazy, right? So they've got talent. They just don't have the top level talent, but they got talent. And so they're capable of doing some remarkable things on a limited basis, right? And when they do them, the whole bench erupts. Yeah, because none of these guys are a threat to them. They're not a threat to their playing time. They stand no threat to their roster spots, no threat to their shot attempts. And so, yeah, they're going to revel in it. It's like the coach of Michigan, his kid is buried on the bench, and they were kicking the crap out of Tennessee the other day, and he hits a three from the opposite corner, and they acted like it was the kid Mullins who hit the three for UConn, right? They were just jumping up and down like crazy, right? Because he's no threat to them. And so, sure, they're going to root for them. We see it all the time, particularly in the college level. Some kid, whether he's the coach's kid or somebody just buried at the end of the bench to walk on who's popular, gets in the game because he's no threat to them, and they go nuts. What's going to happen? We'll find out next year when Markkanen and Jackson are sitting down, and if Ace Bailey does one of his incredible athletic feats that he's capable of doing, do they jump up and down? Or do they just sit there? I'm real interested to see how that is, because we know they go nuts now because these guys aren't threats to them. So it's going to be a fascinating storyline to watch develop. I'm going to take it from the positive, because I'm going to take it from Markkanen, who's going to look at, hey, I'm still getting close to $50 million. So no one's taking my money away. So that's one thing. And I've already made just outrageous amounts of money. I can buy Finland if I wanted to. And so with that in mind, I want to win now. I'm pushing 30 and I've not played in a playoff game, and where half the league goes to the playoffs and I've never been. That's ridiculous. And so my guess is, if Bailey should demand ascension up the ladder and up the totem pole, that they will be okay with it as long as they're winning, because they want to win. And Jaren Jackson had a taste of winning at Memphis, and then it went south, and now he's back. And I think he's smart enough to know, hey, we got a potential winning situation here. So the idea of winning, curing all, that's what Riley Jensen was saying, that when Will Hardy explains the individual roles, there may be, well, this sucks, but give it a week or so and they see the bigger picture at the expense of winning. They don't want to get in the way of winning. They want to be one of the reasons that the team is winning.
Okay, but one of the scenarios is where they've got a good plan, but it doesn't come together right away, and that's when it can be tough to get buy-in. You know, if it's like, and I think your point about LeBron in Miami is a great one. Now, these players don't have that stature, nor will they have that level of expectations. But I think the chemistry issues are, there's a vision, but the product doesn't match the vision the first half of the season. That can be a long time for buy-in. I mean, the cool thing about Mitchell, which was a slightly different puzzle they were putting together, is you didn't have to wait that long. I mean, you can go back and look at his numbers. They were turning pretty quickly, the second month of the season, the third month of the season. So, we'll see. Now, to Locke's point, like maybe Ace isn't ready for that role at the start of the year, but it's the kind of thing as the season goes along, it's obvious guys are going to miss games. We were talking about it earlier, the guys who are only playing 64 games now. You got 18 games you sit. While you're sitting, if he takes over and the team wins, now when you come back, can you scream? There's a lot of different ways it can play out. The puzzle probably won't come together game one right out of the gate. All right, DJ and PK, more to come. Stay with us right here. Pablo Mastroeni joins us. 3 people will understand the Thunderbird High references, but we'll all get the bigger picture about sports. Pablo at the top of the hour right here on The Zone.
Just a bunch of guys sitting around and talking sports. This is Scotty G and friends.
Tony Jones from The Athletic. When you get blown out at home by a team that lost 16 in a row, I applaud that lack of effort. That was impressive by the Jazz.
The lengths that the Jazz are going to pull this off and to make sure that they keep that pick. I got to say, this is the best front office in the league at this point. I'm all in. Because they're going to keep their pick, all right? They're going to get a top 5 pick. Listen, you ready for me to get wild on here?
Let's go.
I'm going to get
Let's
wild on this show.
Let's do it.
If the Utah Jazz get A.J. Devancer, they're winning an NBA championship within 3 years.
Lloyd, you rolling on that? Lloyd's got it.
Lloyd, you got that?
Wow.
Catch Scotty G and friends weekdays from noon to 3 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
The Copper Rock Masters giveaway starts next week. One lucky winner will receive 18 holes for 2 at Copper Rock Golf Course in Hurricane and a $100 gas gift card starting Monday. The KSL Sports Zone will pair listeners with the top 25 players, and one will get the field. Be caller 12 when prompted to call, and you will be signed a player in the field at the Masters. It's brought to you by Copper Rock, where the pros play.
Copper Rock.
You've done some stuff down at Copper Rock with those folks.
A lot of stuff. I'll be down in May because they have the Espen, which is the Corn Ferry version of the females. And they, are really good golfers. And that's a fun course out there in Hurricane, as they call it. A lot of funky holes, but it's fun. And in 20, 30 years, that place is going to be all built up. They've got some big plans, and I know the folks over there pretty well.
Seems like a trend in that part of the state, doesn't it?
Growing golf courses.
Build a course.
PK gets to know them. What are you talking about?
Yes, all of that. Well, we know about Copper Rock, right? That's over on one side of the county. Over on the other side, we see Black Desert. I played Coral Can with you, and you're like, they're gonna put stuff there, and that company. See that sign right there? They're gonna build stuff here, and they just. More golf courses and more developments and some pretty cool stuff down there. It's got a rep. There's is it Nexus? What is the word? There's this there's a whole synergy being built up in the community with all of these. Is this one great? Is that one great? And pretty soon people want to play all of them so they can compare and figure out their favorite hole or their favorite 9 or their favorite 18. There's tons of golf.
Yeah, people coming from all over the place. And you already had that with, obviously, with Zion. People go all over the world to visit there. And obviously you have an opportunity to sample St. George. And then with the Black Desert tournaments being on the Golf Channel, people saw the Red Rock, and it's exploding. Now, is that good? Is that bad? It depends on your opinion, I guess.
Yeah, that's true, for sure. Yeah, there's definitely people, I'm here, pull up the gates, we don't need any more of this, and, the issue with water and golf courses and all that kind of stuff, that'll all be sorted out. I love it when I hear someone who goes down and plays in the air for the first time, PK, because it's like, the views are like, the views at Ledges are awesome, the views at Sky Mountain are awesome. It's like, I don't know how you can mess up the views there. The views are... They got a 9-hole course in the middle of the town, and I mean, like the first, 5, 6 holes. I mean, the Red Rock's just towering over you. It's one of a kind. Some places, the Red Rock's over there in the distance, and other places is like, man, if I pull it, I'm going to ping that rock.
Oh, that's funny you say that, because years ago I hadn't lived here. I wasn't living here, but I came up for a personal reason. I came into Utah, and I played it with a friend of mine who wasn't much of a golfer, but we were playing. And he played high-level basketball at the college level. His brother played in the NBA. and he yanked one off. It was like the 4th, 5th hole, and it's a massive red rock, and he just nailed that thing dead on about 100 miles an hour. I thought we were going to have some type of geological shift right there. I thought we were going to see a crack in that massive red boulder that was off to the left, way off to the left, because he really pulled it. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, where's that thing going? Is it going to ruin the natural setting of the environment? And we laughed about it big time because I think it ricocheted off of that. But yeah, the views, St. George is really just the St. George area, obviously, is a stunning area. My first time through it is like, wow, this is really an amazing place. I can't put my finger on any other place that I've been. And I haven't been in a lot of places. I've never been to Europe. I've never been to South America. I've never been to Africa, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on. That I don't think I've seen a place like this. This would be cool. It would be cool if one day I could live there. And who knows, maybe it'll happen.
One day. One day. What day would you like to pick?
Well, in the distance. Not right now.
How far?
I'm very happy where I'm at.
April 3rd, 2026, way out then?
No. I'm talking about living there 24/7. Not just here, not just there. I mean, come on. Yeah, I dip in and out a couple of times a year, maybe, to the angst of some people. But yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, that when you're playing number one and you see that big shot, that big rock guarding the left side of the green at Red Hills, where I've only played one time, and the people I was playing with had played there before, and they told me, all right, now the pin's back today, and that rock you can't go for it. And so I pulled it, it hit it, and it bounced all the way across the fairway into the rough on the right side, and I pitched up and actually had a par putt, and of course it choke like a dog from 10 feet, but what are you going to do? What are you tap in bogey, take your medicine and move on? Could have been worse, I suppose. Once it hits the rock, you don't know where the ball's going.
Very popular place, St. George's now, with the spring breaks starting to hit for the high school districts and grade schools.
When our kids were little, my wife was down there for a tournament, and I had to work, and I wasn't there, and she came back, and they had stories and all that kind of stuff. And then 20 years later, we're going there on vacation as empty nesters, and she's like, "Whoa, St. George has grown up. This is not what I remember. This wasn't here. I don't remember this being here." I'm like, "It's because it wasn't here." It's 20 years later. Sure. The place has boomed. I don't remember any of this. You can't. It wasn't here yet. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, Pablo Mastroianni, RSL, off to a great start. 10 points in the first 5 games. Can they keep it rolling at home against Sporting Kansas City? And everything you were just talking about with the Jazz kind of applies to Pablo. This is just the nature of team sports. The guys who've been playing, who've won, and they're guys who've been sitting and they're injured and they're older and they're more accomplished, and now he's got to merge it. Do you sit guys when they're playing well, but do you sit guys who are accomplished? You can't start 18 guys. What's Pablo going to do? We'll find out next. Stay with us.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car's gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.